Here's to quitting. Quitting the couch for a quick run. Quitting the snooze button for a morning workout. Quitting giving up after 2 weeks. You see, staying committed to your fitness goals isn't easy. But with Apple Watch, you don't have to do it alone. Because Apple Watch gives you real-time motivation, plus advanced metrics that track all your workouts, so you can stick to your New Year's fitness resolutions. And once and for all, quit quitting with Apple Watch. iPhone 11 or later required.
Welcome back to the Denim-wrapped Nightmares and In Defense of Fandom podcast crossover supernatural music extravaganza. In this collaboration series, we're looking at music in the show, music inspired by the show, and music created by actors, cast, and crew. Today's episode is the second in our Artist on Artist series. Inspired by Variety's Actors on Actors format, we've paired supernatural cast members and musicians for unscripted conversations where they interview each other. In an exemplary discussion where two real queens fix each other's crowns, our guests are Briana Buckmaster and Lisa Barry. Briana is a Canadian actress, singer, and voiceover performer who stole hearts as the optimistic Sheriff Donna Hanscom on Supernatural. A Grant MacEwan University theater grad, an award-winning stage veteran, she's voiced Pugs in Chip and Potato, released a Billboard charting blues album, Begin, and even covered Carry On Wayward Son with Billy Moran. Beyond the screen and stage, she champions body positivity and women's empowerment. Lisa is a Canadian actress who transformed from makeup artist to powerhouse performer, commanding the screen as Billy the Reaper and later Death on Supernatural. A Randolph Academy grad with classical theater roots, she's tackled everything from Shakespeare to horror anthologies like Slasher. Music re-entered her life through convention performances with Louden Swain, and Lisa mentors performers through her Take a Breath wellness program, advocating mental health in the arts. Now let's eavesdrop on Bree's and Lisa's conversation.
I couldn't remember the exact moment, but I want to ask Lisa if she wants to go first. But I remember.
I was going to say, I was like, you go first because you always remember how
no,
the circuit went, and it's a part of my life I blocked out for so long. I only remember you.
I don't
and
remember
the Cinderella
how.
Audition.
Was it Cinderella? I remember it was
so.
Stage West. No. Yeah, it was Stage West Mississauga because I remember we had to take the train.
I was going to say, I was like, we had to take the train from out west.
I don't remember if it was a show or like one of their kind of cabaret kind of shows where it's like just a bunch of songs from a bunch of different shows and pop songs and whatever. Anyway, Lisa she and I were with the same agents at the time. And I don't know if I had known of you or if I'd seen you before that, but I remember we both, this is my remembering of it. We both hated the audition and felt that we were not seen as musicians, as quality singers in the musical theater space. And so we spent the entire train lamenting about how in musical theater, or at least it used to be like this, there was one voice quality they were looking for, and it was belt to an E, ingenue sound. And both Lisa and I, as you can even just tell from speaking, both have alto sounding voices and lean towards that vocally when we were singing. And also, we're like blues singers, rock singers, like our voices were not leaning hard towards musical theater, ingenue, pop, belt to an E. And so often, I will say, I showed up to musical theater auditions feeling so less than. And I remember just finding it so refreshing to have conversations with Lisa, who I think I knew as being kind of a big deal back then, or even if it was after then, because I know she had worked at Stratford and Shaw. And I felt so grateful that someone of her caliber in the industry felt the exact same way I did. And I just remember her being very funny and big and vibrant, and I just related to her so much. I don't think I ever saw her again, but we were connected via social media. for years and years and years. And then I remember hearing her sing in the Supernatural preview, and I messaged her going, "Is that you on Supernatural?" And she's like, "Yeah, it is." And I'm like, "I'm on Supernatural too." And she's like, "I know." And so, because she was a fan of Supernatural, which she'll tell you about, I'm sure. But anyway, and then the rest is history. So we'd known each other for a long time, had that one moment that I can remember of connection, never saw each other again till she started doing conventions. And then of course the love was obvious for me.
Aw, I love you.
I love you.
Oh yeah, I mean, Brianna is hilarious. As anyone who is lucky enough to know her knows, she will have you laughing in stitches, like not just laughing, but like rolling on the floor, stop it, it hurts, kind of laughing. And those people always keep a special place in my heart. And I, of course, know the show, as Brianna knows. I'm a fan of the show as well. And I was like, get out of here, man. You know what's so funny is I actually just saw an old audition I did for another thing on Supernatural because I'd auditioned for the show for like 10 years. And I found
Yes.
an
Yeah.
old school hard drive and I was like, oh, I wonder what's on here. And I was like,
Oh,
get
it's my nightmare.
out. They're bad. They're very bad, is
Oh
what
my God.
I'll
Even
just leave you
looking
with
at one of
that.
my
I was like,
auditions from last year, they're so bad.
yeah, it's
Anyway.
like I saw why I didn't get the part. But yeah, no, and I think it's always fun when you meet somebody who understands the vocal journey that both Brianna and I have had. And to hear us sing, you would never think that there was ever an insecurity, but when you grow up in a time where
Still.
a size 8 is the biggest size you ever saw represented in magazines, on TV, in the world, and you're a size
Yeah.
12, you immediately are excluded from the definition of beautiful. And so you grow up with that internalized. And then you have a voice that is more leaning towards a rock or a punk rock kind of sound, and everyone wants aerial. And that makes you go, I don't think there's going to be much for me here. And I would still go out and I would still try, but then it was just like, I can't do this anymore. I can't take any more no's. I can't put myself out there in that way. This is too vulnerable. This is so personal, which I believe singing is such a deep, you know, spiritual practice in real time because you're sharing the most vulnerable side of yourself where mistakes and anything you don't want other people to hear, will be heard. So it was nice to meet somebody who also, like Brianna said, just got it. I'm like that to this day. A friend of mine just made a show and she was talking about her vocal journey, and I was just sitting on like a tear bubble the whole time because I was like, get out of my head. What are you doing? Because I just understand the pressure we put on ourselves and the pressure we think other people are putting on us. And it
Oh
just can
yeah.
be this weight that you're like, it's a lie. And when you really break free of it, which is something that, only happened because of Brianna as well, like just she's always been a champion. Like nobody really reaches out when you're on something and says, hey, I saw you on this. Let me give you a shout out. Like those just aren't words that most artists hear or share in community. And to me, that's what makes you actually really, really special is you're giving in a way where you don't feel like you'll lose something because you're sharing and giving and being generous.
That's so sweet. I would never ever have thought that. To me, I was like, oh, I'm gonna get famous because I know Lisa Berry. I was being very selfish when I reached out to you. I want to
I
touch
love
on quickly when talking about how interesting it is. I know Lisa and I, we've talked at length about how we share vocal insecurities that, as you mentioned, it really does stem from being told you need to sound a certain way in musical theater. I remember the very and first time I played like an ingenue role in a musical was when I played Belle in Beauty and the Beast at Globe Theater. And I lost my voice. And they didn't have understudies back then. They didn't have microphones. And I will never forget, like the trauma is ingrained in my cells, going on stage, opening your mouth and no sound coming out. And then going on stage for a curtain call and nobody applauding. Like, because they did not make an announcement that I had lost my voice until the next performance. They just cut songs. And of course, people are upset because this was a Christmas show at Globe and they pay a lot of money to come see Beauty and the Beast, the show they know and love, and they're cutting all the big songs from the show. It was awful. And the director, Ruth Smiley, was very kind and she did all she could to take care of me. And this happens. People get sick, but I have lived since my late 20s with vocal nodes, which I got from serving tables, actually. If you don't speak properly, meaning if you speak at a certain decibel, as you do at restaurants, over people for long periods of time, 5 nights a week, you're not using your breath and your diaphragm properly, and you just exhaust yourself. Plus, I was in my 20s, so I was probably drinking, smoking, whatever, doing all the things. And then you find out you have vocal nodes, but they don't really surgically remove nodes anymore. And so they're like calluses. And so when I have vocal issues, they will come back. And they came back once at the Rockwood Music Festival that I did. It was the last one I did. And listen, when I'm in Germany, I had done this festival 3 or 4 times. And so I knew by this time, the last time, which I want to say was 2021. I don't know if it was, I think it was pre-pandemic. And so I knew to behave, get as much sleep as you can, don't drink, don't do anything bad. And it didn't matter. I still lost my voice because of the jet lag. When you're tired, your body is tired. Your muscles are not working properly, including your vocal muscles. And I completely lost my voice. It was the one, Lisa, where I sang that song from Waitress.
I recorded it.
I remember Lisa was there.
I had my hands so steady because I didn't have a tripod. I was like, ooh, she in it. I cannot mess this up.
And I was like, for sure, that song is holds a special place in my heart because it's about a woman who got pregnant, didn't want to be pregnant. And I related to that because I was very unsure if I wanted to have kids and got pregnant by surprise, et cetera. And so I remember feeling very emotional. And again, like when you're like crying, everything closes up here. So anyway, I lost my voice and was inconsolable. And I remember talking to Jason going, I have to cancel my set tonight. And I was weeping. And Jason was like, Briana, it's okay. This happens all the time. And that idea was so foreign to me. I remember seeing an ENT doctor once who did a scope and was like, yeah, you have nodes, like just seeing that they had come back. And I was, again, very upset, very emotional. And he was like, when opera singers come in and they have nodes, and he's like, it happens all the time. They go, okay, I'll cancel the shows. Where in musical theater, they go, can you get a shot? Like they'll just give a shot of like a steroid shot.
The steroid, rather.
Yeah. Anyway, so in musical theater, it's like you're a bad singer if you get nodes. But in opera, in rock, like in pop music, people cancel shows all the time. And Jason was so supportive, going, you just had the performance of your life out there. He's like, you should feel very proud. And I just couldn't feel it because I was so wrapped up in the idea that I was a hack because I'd lost my voice. And I still, I don't know if Lisa, you relate to this. I'm very cautious. This year, vocally, I had my healthiest year, but I also didn't do anything too hard. I remember I was singing in Rome and had lost my voice, was singing in London, had lost my voice. Like anytime I have jet lag experience, I will lose my voice and I'll be like, oh, I don't know how to sing. I'm a terrible singer. I can't. It's very hard to heal from that, I think.
Mm-hmm. I'm such a speech person too, like because I did theater for so many years before I really transitioned into doing film and TV. And so even as someone who knows how to articulate and how to reach the back of the room without force, and my voice, I feel, is like vocal cords of steel. Like I can sing really loud, I can go for really long, I can rehearse all day long. But when I lose my voice, like if I get a tickle in my throat, I was like, oh, because I'm just getting back from losing my voice because I got a tickle in my throat and I was like, I'm going to lose my voice. Because the minute any kind of bacteria or anything happens to the vocal cords, I just know what's going to happen versus if I get a head cold or if I get a chest cold, I'm fine. I could sing through it, no problem. And there was a couple of shows where I was like, I think I'm getting sick, but then I would go to sing and it's like, nope, nope, it's not in my throat. Okay, we're cool. But it is triggering because
Yes, yeah.
you go back to, ooh, if you ever saw the Celine Dion documentary, she's like, I don't want people to hear me sound like that. That's not what I sound like.
No, because they don't know. And often people who don't understand music, like maybe a Jason Manns does, people will go, especially if they hear you for the first time, you know,
Yeah.
they'll think you're a bad singer. And I don't know, you get a lot of like stuff wrapped up in it.
But even doing like even when I listen to the me singing over top of the trailer, because of how much I've grown and how much I've learned, I was like, ooh, can I do it again? Ooh, ooh, there are so many things I would
Oh yeah.
change.
I feel like that when I listen to my album. I don't like when I people are like, "Oh, I love your album." I'm like, "Oh, it's terrible."
Your
But
album is great.
I did that. It's great and I love it for so many reasons other than how I sound. But that's how albums are. Like you grow. And I think I sound fine. I can hear myself being careful. And I don't sing like that anymore. And it's very
Mm,
freeing. And Jason always says, I refer to Jason a lot because he was a big inspiration for me. He really encouraged me to do the album. He knows a lot about music, vocal health, and he's been a great steadfast for me in the music sense. But he was like, the greatest part of your voice is that growl that you have in your voice was something that was really drilled out of me in musical theater.
mm,
So when I lean into it, it's very freeing because I'm like, oh no, this is a good thing as opposed to it sounding
mhm.
tired or something. It's just how I sound. I sound like that even when I talk, but it's hard on your voice. So I wouldn't be able to sing like that 8 shows a week. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
No, I was just going to say that I miss the idea of doing musical theater. I see musicals all the time and I'm always like, oh, but sometimes I see musical theater and I see a singer sing and I'm like, no, I made the right decision. I can't do that. I can't do that. They're like athletes. 8 shows a week. Forget
I
about it.
think Ruth put a dream in my heart when she like, and it's always the friends who say something just so casually and like just off the cuff, and she's like, you could totally do a musical on Broadway. And I was like, what? You think so? Really? You wouldn't lie to me. You know? And it is like a dream of mine to sing in that way because I
Yeah,
would love to. And I catch myself being like, can I do it? Oh, yeah, it's there. Yeah, I could do that. I could do that. But for
that's
me,
great.
I think what has always been the thing that holds me back is how I've always just identified as an artist. And singer was never one of
Mm,
those titles I gave myself. Even though vocally, as a speaking actor, I will
hmm
to the 10th degree be like, oh, I'm well versed. I've got range, I've got depth, I've got like it's the thing that people most compliment me on in terms of my work of just like, wow, like you on stage and your voice and your speaking voice. And when people hear me, they're like, I heard you on. It's like, was that you? And it was like, I never really think of myself as having a distinct voice. But to everybody else, they're
hmm
like, oh no, I don't know anybody else who sounds like you, but I feel like everybody sounds like me. So I feel like I hear myself all the time. But even the smallest little compliment like that, and just that little, mustard seed of a belief that I could do it is there in me now that wouldn't have been there if I'd never done the show. Because
hmm
I didn't sing until that episode. In truth, it'd probably been about 10 years since I'd even opened my
hmm
mouth to sing
Wow.
at all. Like, so when I got cast, I don't know if you know how I got cast, but I mean, I'd auditioned for the show for 10
You auditioned
years
for something else, right?
and I'd auditioned for something else, one of the witches with Rowena's Coven. And
Yeah.
then when I didn't get it, I was like, I was so certain, man. They seemed to really like me, like Jensen gave me redirect and Phil was like, that was awesome. Thanks so much. And then when I got a call being like, hey, there's this other character we wrote that we're not auditioning people for, but from what you did, we think you'd be really great for it. And it might recur, it might not. We don't know yet. Do you want to take it? And I was like, yes, I don't even care what it is. And it was one scene and I was like, sold. And they're like, oh, a week later, they called me back and asked if I could sing something. And I was like, oh, yeah. So I
Yeah.
sent over like a track of something I sang at Stratford. And it's just this little song that I did in a show that I kind of use as people for people to be like, can she sing? It's like, well, yeah, this is what I sound like. And it usually gets me work as an actor, not as a
Right.
not as a singer. But
Yeah,
it's
I
the
get it.
thing that you're like, oh yeah, the actor can do the singing thing I need them to do. Here's the cred. And when I got the song, I was like, oh no, this is such an iconic song of the show because I'm a fan of the show. So I was like, oh, you're not gonna get me like this. I know exactly what this is. You want me
Mhm.
to what? And so I immediately like started working with a vocal coach and was like, I need to learn this song. And I know I only have to learn a couple of bars, but let's just learn the whole song because I just can't be taken off my guard at all. Like I was just panicking. And then when we
Do you
sang it,
remember? Yeah, keep going.
remember what?
No, keep going.
No, I just remember Phil coming up at the end being like, "Hey, do you know the whole song?" And I was like, "Well, as a matter of fact, I do. Would you mind singing it?" And like they'll go over into like the booth and work with the sound editing guy and sing it in the little trailer. And I was like, "Yeah, sure." So we sang it, and I was like, I thought that was the end of it. And I thought they were going to use it to cut in to my scene so that they had like a clean take. So when Phil sent me a message being like, hey, check this out, this is what we're going to do with it, I was like, shut up.
Oh, it's all so awesome.
What a story, right? It's so wild.
I remember the following year, they asked Emily Swallow and I, or Phil asked Emily Swallow and I to do basically what you had done because I think it was such a big hit. And he gave me something and it was so high. I remember going in to record and I remember him being like, okay, just being like, that's not quite what we were looking for. But I think there is sometimes a thing, and I could absolutely be internalizing this. Phil is such a good friend of mine. He is my fairy godfather. We still see each other at least once a year. So no hate from him. I know he loves me, but uh I think he thought I was a different kind of singer. I think because I have a musical theater background. Emily Swallow has an incredible range. She is an incredible tone. She is leather lungs. She never, ever, ever sounds insecure or like she's going to lose her voice. She and I remember being backstage before SNS the years that she was doing all the conventions. We used to do warm up. I have a warm up on my phone from my vocal teacher, and she and I used to do it all the time. And I remember going in to record and trying to I was like, no, this is too high. And I was just like, I think I was really embarrassed. But what I was going to say was, remember, was it last year that you came over to my house to work on that song for that movie?
Oh,
Was it Lifetime movie?
yeah,
That Christmas movie? It was
yeah,
last year, right?
yeah.
She,
That I was singing with like
Lisa
the
was,
BB Winans, and I'm like, oh my
yeah.
God.
Yeah. So
Anyways,
she was, I assume, I mean, just wanting to be as prepared as possible. And she was like, can we work together? And I was like, fuck yes. What a joy that was.
I still have it on my phone.
Also, yeah, good. You should. You sounded amazing. But it was also like really beautiful to watch Lisa, who we all know is like one of the greatest voices we've ever seen in real life, um, go from being nervous and not attempting notes to then feeling totally confident and free within the span of an hour. It really reminds us how much of singing is up here, and this directly correlates to
Yeah.
here and can prevent everything. It really has not very little, but less than we think to do with actual skill and more to do with remembering how to use your instrument appropriately.
Hmm.
Saturday Night Special completely changed my life musically. Louden Swain and Jason Mans changed I would not be singing still if it was not for Saturday Night Special. And not only because I get the opportunity to sing, but because I got the opportunity to discover my true voice and feel confident in that voice. Like I will never forget like going in, I don't remember what song it was, but it was early on. That first year or two I sang. So I used to sing a different song every 2 concerts. Like I was constantly changing songs. And I remember the band usually will pitch me a song and I'd be like, "Oh, I tried, man. It's just too high." And Billy would be like, "Well, let's just take it down." And I'm like, "You can do that?" Because in musical theater, no, you hit that note or you don't get the part. But the band was like, let's just take it down. There's only one song that we couldn't take down. We tried, but it was too low for the band to play. And that was the song from Wayward Sisters, the Hailstorm song. I Am the Fire, which I love. And I'm sure they love as well, but it was we had to take it down so far because it's got a massive range that it was just too low for the band. But they helped me discover my own authentic sound. I recently at the last convention sang Wave with them, the Louden Swain version of Wave. And it is one of my favorite songs of all time because I just love it. I love it. They sang it at Sadie, the concert we went to on Rich's birthday. They performed it. They hadn't performed it in so long, and I'd kind of forgotten about that song. And I used to perform it with them all the time. And I was like, oh my God, this is the best song. Like, I truly think it's one of the greatest rock songs, period, let alone my favorite of theirs. And I asked them, I was like, can we do that at the next convention? And then for whatever reason, I think I missed one of the Saturday night specials. And then we sang it in Nashville. And it brings me such joy to sing because I can just wail. It's like some of those notes sit perfectly. The tone of my voice that I love and that I get prided on being a unique sound for me comes out in that song. I'm also not singing alone, like I'm singing with Rob. And so it takes a little heat off of it in terms of nerves. And it's one of the only performances in the last while that I go back and I look at, I'm like, oh, that's me. And I remember posting a little snippet on my personal Instagram, which is just friends and family. And I had friends of mine who are still working in musical theater, in Toronto, elsewhere in the States. And they're like, holy shit. And to have people who are in musical theater, who are successful musical theater performers, to say that about me when I obviously think that about them, was very validating. It feels really good. What about you, Lisa?
Well, that's how I feel going into singing at the Supernatural conventions. It's always been such an incredible experience because it couldn't be a more warm crowd to fall
Truly.
on your face in front of it, if that is the thing.
Truly. The number of times I've screwed up in front of that audience, I've also like been in that show and like completely stopped and gone, stop. No, we got to start again. And the crowd just thinks it's, and like when we tour with the PBJ tour with Jason and Rich, it's like a jam sesh. We fuck up all the time. And it's part of the fun and it's part of the discovery. It takes the heat out of it. And it makes me feel like that's what music should be. Music should be joy. It should not be anxiety. I still remember the first time Lisa sang, and I remember all the actors backstage just being like, what? Like not quite surprised because you can hear Lisa's voice in her singing voice. And so you hear her and you're like, she better fucking sing or I'm going to kill her. Because the tone of her speaking voice is so just sultry and it sounds like you just want to like poke her and she can just start singing perfectly. I just want to push the sing button.
You're hilarious. You're hilarious.
But yeah, she's such a star. I remember being backstage for that first performance.
So nervous.
It was very exciting.
So I still get so nervous to sing. Mainly because I'm such a rehearser.
Mm-hmm.
So when I don't have rehearsal, I'm like, nope, no, that's not fun.
Do you know who I was talking to this year was Julie McNiven, who has come back on the circuit, and she's also a great singer. And I think I'm pretty sure she comes, Lisa, from the same background you and I, which is like musical theater. So therefore lots of rehearsal and not. And so I remember talking to her about the in-ears. You go up there and the sound check is for, you put one, I put one in. I think, Lisa, do you wear them at all?
I
The
wear one.
in-ears?
I wear
Yeah.
one. I wear
Kim doesn't
two.
wear
Yeah.
any. And I said, you just got to find a good, like while you're singing, look at your mic pack, find a good volume for you. Make sure you can hear yourself. Like this is what the sound check is for. Cause she didn't know how to use, like she knows how to use a microphone, but she doesn't know how to do it in that kind of, and I was just like, she was nervous about all of that stuff because she can sing her tits off. She's great, but it's a nerve-wracking thing to be like, okay, Lisa, your turn to get up in front of your peers and potentially fall in your face, especially if you are, new to the circuit. That's a very, I think, not everybody remembers how nerve-wracking that is.
Oh my God. Well, that's the hardest part. It's not failing. It's failing in front of people you love and respect.
Yeah. Yeah. And potentially them going, oh, she's not as talented as I thought she was.
Like,
Oh,
that's
well,
okay.
it's Brianna's last con, I guess. Brianna's last con, everyone.
I mean, it's so intimidating. It's very, because you guys are all so good and you're such a well-oiled machine. So it's like, I mean, it's the way that I came into the show. You're like, it's season
Right.
11. You're just like, no
Yeah.
pressure, no pressure
But
whatsoever.
the thing the hilarity is that we're not a well-oiled machine, but I totally understand that's what it looks like. That's what it looked like to me when I came on. I was like, these guys been doing it forever. This band's been together for 20 years. Like, I'm gonna fuck everything up. And they're all gonna quit the band and they're gonna blame me.
No.
No, just kidding. Lisa, for a second you were talking about, I mean, this was a long time ago, so I don't know. You were talking about potentially putting together a concert in Toronto. Do you ever think about that still?
I do. I actually am. I lost my voice, so I wasn't able to do it. I wanted to actually do a little something for the holidays, but I feel like I've lost my voice and it's more of a repair than I realized. So like I had to
Hmm.
be on vocal bed rest for a week, which I've never had to have happen before, where it's like, no, I actually just couldn't talk. Like I
Oh,
was like,
yeah. How did you do
there's
that?
nothing.
From being sick?
Yeah, it was a little tickle in my throat, and I was in Germany. And so when I had to fly back,
Oh,
the being on the flight with the dry air and the recycled air, and then you know what I mean, like all of
every
that
time.
being a little cold, it was like, ooh, that it just exasperated it. And
Yeah.
so I came back and was
Yeah.
like, you're on total vocal bed rest. I had to cancel like 2 auditions that I had because I was like,
Yeah.
I can't even talk. That's how I was. And so they're like, ooh, shit.
Every time there's something overseas, if I have to
Oh
sing, like
wow.
even in Rome, like I'm always just that amount of like fatigue, especially if you're at a convention because you're talking a lot at a convention. You're not, even if you're not partying, you're talking a lot and it does use up, you only have so much lubrication in your vocal folds. So yeah, that sucks. But I'm glad that you're very good at going, no, I would be like, who am I gonna make anybody mad? Is anybody mad at me?
No, but I have been inspired to really sing more because of Supernatural. Like I said, like I didn't even utter a word of a note before I did my very first episode. Like people were like, "Oh right, you sing." I was like, "I mean, I guess
Yeah.
so. If I have to," is how I always framed it. I'm an actor who sings. I'm not a singer. Don't refer to me as a singer and please stop calling me a singer. And I had like at our agency, Sandy would always just give the highest of praise. That was our first manager. And I was like, no, 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 no. Undersell me, under. Don't those expectations are too high.
I
You know
know.
what I mean? And I was like, no, no. She's
Yeah.
like, she sounds like Tina Turner. I was like, I need you to stop. Stop.
Stop. Oh my God.
No, because then they're going to expect that. That's not why I can, you know what I mean? And so
You
I was
do
like,
sound a bit like Tina
stop,
Turner.
stop. But, I mean, her stuff, like the surprise was how much her stuff sits in my voice so well, because I've only ever sung along. You know what I mean?
What else is what would you like in your heart of hearts, and don't ask me this because I don't have any answers, but what would you want to sing in your concert?
Oh,
Like,
in
what do
my
you sing
concert,
when you're at home?
well, I mean, I definitely want to, I would want to sing Proud Mary just because that was the song that started it all, but it wouldn't be
Of course,
it wouldn't be the
yes.
starter. It's Not Yours to Throw Away. It was a song from Nashville, and it's all about how your gifts aren't yours to throw away. They're divinely given and a responsibility to share. I also would sing River Deep, Mountain High because that was like my kid's song that
Mm-hmm.
I absolutely
Yeah.
love singing it. Let It Rain by Amanda Marshall.
I've thought about
Uh,
singing that before.
it's a
Any
good
Amanda
one for you.
Marshall
It's a good
stuff.
one for you.
Represent. I tried to learn how to play that on guitar when I was in high school. I love Amanda
What?
Marshall. Love Amanda Marshall. Yeah.
Oh yeah. I mean, it's if you're a 90s baby, if
Oh,
you're a
that's a
90s
great
baby,
song for you. Any Amanda Marshall,
it's a good
Beautiful
one.
Goodbye. That'd be good for you too.
Yeah. So I mean, I've got a couple
That's
of
like totally your tone.
yeah, I've got a couple of songs that I would sing that have stories attached to them that have a lot of meaning because of the time that I was singing them in my life, what they represent. But I am going to put together a little I actually was like trying to think of like, I wonder if I could like fly people in so I could do like a song with people because like I'd want to sing with all the
Well,
people who brought music because like I have a friend Stuart and he's an incredible musical theater performer and he's just about to start doing Juliet and I'm so excited to see him in that and he's just been this incredible talent that I've always known he's like when he went to Shaw for his first time and we were there together and he was going to do one of the cabaret nights and everybody's like what are you doing and I'm like setting up my camera and I was like well y'all don't know he's about to throw down and I want to be ready and then when he started singing people were like well, what the fuck and I was like I got it all on camera honey well as you know I like to get the
knew
things on
it.
the cams
And
I do
God bless. God
I like to
bless
get the
that
things
I
on the
have
can.
these
So I
memories.
would love to have a concert where I'm able to like sing with, with you, with him, with the only vocal teacher who ever like really heard me, really saw me, Mark Cassius, and we were doing a musical theater class, and my teacher, Mark Cassius, who's incredible. I was singing and doing all the things, and he's like, and it was like sharp flat, sharp flat, sharp flat. It was just the worst
Oh,
he could
yeah.
ever sing. I think I was singing Colors of the Wind or something, and he was like,
Oh, good song.
it's great. Could you close your eyes and just sing like you're by yourself, like ignore all of us, you know? And he let me turn around and not do the classic musical theater thing that they were training us to do. And he was like, I just want you to sing from your heart, which is something my mom would always say, is like, just sing from your heart and just see what happens. And
Mm.
so I did.
This
And
was
he was like,
recently?
no, no, this was in theater school. This was in theater school.
Okay.
And he was like, sing from your heart. And I did it. And he was just like, you didn't go sharp or flat once.
Mm. See, it's all
Like
up
the
here.
pressure you put on yourself is going to outweigh. And so he found me a song that I was like, I didn't even know I could do that. I didn't even know I had the capacity to do that. And he was just such a champion, like, because I really started to get down on my voice by the end of theater school that I was like, nobody even put me in the cabaret. And then somebody, you know, in the faculty was like, this is crazy. Lisa needs a song. And I was like, okay. And they like rehearsed on like I've been so babied with my voice. And then people hear me
Mm.
sing and they're like, this isn't adding up. And I was like, you got to understand how the mind can entrap you and enslave you into a way of thinking about yourself.
And also like the things we were told, like we were talking about at the beginning. It's like I was constantly told, look, I have a beautiful tone to my voice. It's unique. It's fun. It's, all the things, but it does not, I know it does not sustain 8 shows a week. And I know that through practice. And in
Mm,
order for me to sing 8 shows a week, I would have to go on vocal rest. And I
right,
used to do that when I did musicals. I'd have to be on vocal rest all day long. And I was like, I cannot live my life like this,
right.
being constantly on vocal rest. Like if you ever hear stories about Adina Menzel when she was doing Wicked, she was like, I could not nap between shows because my voice would fall asleep. She had like a steam shower put in her apartment so that she could steam her voice every day. Like people do crazy things when they're on Broadway. Some people have, leather lungs who are just impenetrable, and that might be luck. That might be incredible training. I don't have either. So I didn't start singing like properly until I was in college. I didn't learn how to sing when I was little. I just sang off the radio. But what I was going to say is, God, would it ever be nice? Like, it was so nice to get an opportunity to sing musical theater song at Rockwood because Aaron was there, and he was playing piano. He also comes from musical theater background. So he got it. Me wanting to sing Waitress.
But yeah, no,
Yeah.
I wanna actually do it because
I
I've
would
been
love that.
emboldened because of, you know, Louden Swain is just they're just incredible human beings.
Yeah.
If you watch any video of me singing with them, all you see is me looking at Mike, just being like, "Do I go
Mike
now?
Borja, always. He's the
Do I go
best.
now?
Oh,
Now? Is it now? Okay, now. Okay."
but he'll smile at you through the whole thing. He's not going to be helpful in that way. He's the best. And
But
Billy is
he'll
the
play it
best.
back until you're like, "Are you ready?" He like the good double Dutch. You're just like, "I got you. I got you.
Yeah.
You come in when you ready."
Billy is always the one that I talk to about very specifically. Like, what do you think about this song? He's the one that
Yeah.
I will pitch to, that will pitch songs to me. Everything gets okayed through Rob, of course. Mike and Norton are just such cheerleaders. Yeah, they're all so uniquely awesome and supportive. All of them,
Getting a
truly.
compliment from them is honestly like, because like
Yeah,
you said, it's the people who you're like, wow, I really like respect you. Like
yeah.
you've got an incredible voice, you've got an incredible power presence, like you do this. I'm faking it, for the most part. But truly, because of them, I've been inspired to be like, I could I could sing more. I think I could do a little bit.
And doesn't it also make you go, maybe everybody's faking it?
A little,
Like,
oh, of course. Of course. You're like,
well,
I
okay, well,
know
fuck it
everybody's
then. Let's
faking
just
it
do this.
actually.
Yeah, yeah. It is what
But
you decided to be, right?
no, exactly. I mean, this world has changed so much in my spirit because I really do think of it as a spiritual practice. It's something that I think the voice is so connected to how we identify ourselves, how we create change in our lives by changing the way that we speak and the tones that we even use and connect to and resonate with. And
Mhm.
now I'm at a place where I'm just like, okay, I can hear a compliment and be like, okay, thank you.
Yeah,
Because in my head,
and
I'm
take it
like,
in.
they
Yeah.
love to lie right to your face. It's
Yes, yes.
rude.
You're just saying that because you have
You're just
to.
saying that to be nice. Like I
Somebody
thought
told you to say that.
Jason was just trying to be nice for like a
No.
good year. I was like, until he was like, no, we should, if not for COVID, we probably would have made the album we were thinking about making.
Yeah,
And it was like,
yeah.
until up until about that point, I was just like, you could stop lying to my face, Jason. I have to do the concerts no matter what.
I can tell I know Jason well enough now because we've worked together so much personally, just him and I, that I can tell when it's a genuine compliment now. Between the differences, and that's not because he'll be like, it's not because he'll say something nice when I've actually sung terribly. That's just not, he's just, if I sang terribly, he wouldn't say anything. If I sang fine and good, he'd be like, good job, high five me or nice work or whatever it is. But if I sing well to the point where he's like, there's like a bit of a proud papa moment, he'll go, that's how you should always sing. He'll say something like that. And
Hmm.
that feels good. Yeah. That's how you should always sing.
He's never said that to me.
And it's always, yeah.
Never heard
Because
that. That's okay. I'm just fucking with you. He has not ever said that, but I
Ah.
think it's probably unique to every person.
I think that's a me personal one because he knows. I mean, I don't know if you and him, I don't know your relationship. He knows that I have a hard time taking a compliment, or if he was to give me a note, I'd rip his head off. Like he and I are pretty tight at this point, so it's hard to take a compliment or a note from him. So he has to like maneuver ways to do it. Poor guy. He's fine. This was something I was going to say is that this year I found it quite challenging finding songs for Saturday Special. I'm different than Lisa in the way that I get really kind of bored with singing the same song. So I'll sing it once, twice, maybe 3 times. And I'll be like, new song, time for a new song. Unless it's like really like the perfect song for me. And then I can sing the shit out of it. But this year I was like, I need a new song. Billy and I kept pitching Billy. And he's like, no, no, no. And then he was like, at this point, it really only makes sense to sing songs from Supernatural. So he and I went through on, I don't know, Apple Music or whatever, like tried to find all the songs that were on Supernatural. And there's a lot of them. And that's how we came up with Fat Bottom Girls, because it was actually on Supernatural. So yes, we have been through it all, and that's how it's influenced. There's lots of songs I would like to sing, but they're either like too karaoke or I've never heard of them, because I'm a generation behind everybody, because I'm just little.
I adore you
What
so
about you?
much. I'm like, let me just sing the same song over and over. Let me make this my I will always love you. You know what I mean? That's where my brain is. And it's like, I still remember when I get a message from Rob and he's like, hey, Jensen wants to do Blow tonight. I was like, what are you trying to do to me, people? You're trying to set me up to fail, is what you're trying to do. You're trying to make me look stupid. I see your game now. You know, I would love to record Oh Death again, like properly, and really
Yeah.
make it my own this time, and not sing it from a place of like, I hope I don't fuck it up, you know? Because I'm such a different singer now than I was when I first started, that it would just be a completely different song. And it would have different energy and a different vibe, and there's just so much more that I could do with it, because I feel like I could fly in the song now, more so before, where I felt like I needed the wings, to be made for me, and to have so much support, and just felt incredibly insecure. And I also knew what that song meant, and when I joined the show, I was like, I wonder if I'm deaf, because like this is the song that introduces death. Do you know what I mean? Like, as a fan of the show, you start making up stories in your head, because I'm like, well, technically, I mean, this was a song that brought death on, and I know that you just got killed. Carry the one. It makes sense, but, and I always played it as if I thought I was death. So when I became death, I was like, shut up.
You manifested it.
What? Like, it was just so wild, which is a whole other story in itself of how I found out about that. But I mean, in my mind, when
I know
when I
how.
first got cast, when I first got cast, I thought, this has to be the new death. I must be. I mean, I don't know how. I mean, maybe not. This doesn't make any sense, but maybe. I don't know. Why would you use this song? Like, I just started doing all the actor questions.
Yeah.
Especially when you know the show, you can't help but go down that avenue. But that would be one song that I would love to come back to and just do it proper.
I would like to hear that.
Now for the show's credits.
This season is a co-production between Denim-wrapped Nightmares and In Defense of Fandom.
Cover art for In Defense of Fandom was designed by Liz Hand.
Cover art for Denim-wrapped Nightmares was designed by Rain Zielman.
Music featured in this episode was by Briana Buckmaster. See links to our music and more in the show notes.
If you've enjoyed this collaboration, we want to know. Send us a message on Instagram or Twitter. We love hearing from you.
And while you're at it, make sure you're subscribed to both shows so you never miss an episode.
Also, a review on Apple Podcasts wouldn't hurt either.
See you next episode.
Bye.
You're listening to the Geekscape Network.